Yeah, this is.
Welcome to the 13th dimension. If it's paranormal or beyond, we got it covered.
Hey, everybody. I hope everybody's having a great Friday night. Welcome to Season 2 of the 13th Dimension. I am your co-host, with the least, not the most, Scott. And I'm looking forward to tonight. I brought my buddy with me, my homie, Jeremy York. He's here with me tonight. And I'm excited about that. So let's bring him on.
Hey, Scott.
What up, brother?
Not much. How you doing?
Man, sorry to bring you back out of your little break, but I appreciate tonight. So, you know.
Yeah, that's okay. Because for this particular episode, I wouldn't miss this one. Really.
Right. You know, a year ago, we had this interview, the same guy, this interview, and it was one of the most amazing interviews I've ever done. I mean, even, Russell Edwards and the Shaw, which was a great interview. This man is by far one of my favorite interviews from last season of all time.
Now, I think I can understand why, because with what we were talking about with him, everything was just so personal because of what we do together. Whereas with Russell Edwards, he basically closed a chapter in history.
Exactly. Yeah.
But with Robert, it's just ongoing.
Yeah, and what you see is what you get, and that's what I like about Robert is he tells you like it is. He holds nothing back, and just his knowledge of the paranormal is uncomprehendable. I mean, it's just absolutely amazing. So, let's bring Robert Murphy from Elite Paranormal Society on.
Hey guys.
Hi, Robert.
Hi, Robert.
Hey man, you guys are too kind. That's for darn sure. I appreciate it very much.
Man, it is the man, the myth, and the legend.
I don't know what you got into already, Scott, but have some more.
It's Coca-Cola.
Well, mine isn't the same way. There you go.
But by the way, I want to say hi to Irene and Freddie Johnson. Such a great dude. Hi, Annie. Hi, Christy, my sister from another mister. Hi, Katie. So, Robert, how you doing, brother?
Hello, everybody. Hi, Christy. Hi, Katie.
No, I'm doing really well. Just trying to keep up with everything. We're in the process of still moving. I just bought a house recently between running my own company plus working another company. And now I brought also Janie and Sean, who are two of my team members, my best friends. Janie's basically my sister, my team medium. She now lives with me as well. They both do. So, yeah, it's already started off being pretty interesting.
Right on, brother. Right on.
You said Freddie's on. Freddie is one of my team members as well, my co-host for our EPS Paratalks. Give him a shout out.
I definitely want to get Freddie on as a guest at some point. I know last year we weren't able to make it happen because of his work schedule, but from what I understand, his work schedule has lightened up a bit.
Yeah, it's got a little better, a little more consistency to it.
Hopefully we can be able to.
I've
That's
seen
good.
pictures of your house. You got an in-ground pool, right?
In-ground pool, 8-person hot tub. Yeah.
Jeremy,
wow.
I'm thinking road trip this summer. West Virginia. West Virginia sounds really good right now. Okay.
Sean's making the what was the pool shed is now going to be basically the bar and grill, and then he's got
Oh,
another
nice.
shed he's putting out next to it that'll be for the actual pool stuff. But he's going to have everything set up out there. No, you guys will be welcome to come visit by far. Come hang out for
I
a
make
while.
some mean ribs, homie. I make some mean ribs.
Be some competition. They're awesome
Ooh,
cooks. They are awesome cooks.
Do
I'm
they
down on that.
do they deal with hot stuff, spicy stuff?
Yeah, they can. I don't. That's up to y'all.
This guy here does.
Yeah. Did he do the last competition?
I have not done the bubble gum yet.
That's what I heard you talking
yeah.
about it.
Yeah, dude. That's man.
That's insane.
It's like 16 million. I mean, I've done 9 million. 9 million is my highest, and like it's a bubble gum, and I have these things in my mouth that are not real, you know. So bubble gum sticks to them. So and I am not chewing bubble gum that's 16 million without my teeth. I'm just saying,
Bubble
not
gum,
happening.
bubble gum ain't the only thing that sticks to them.
So the suckers. So the suckers.
that lollipop that you had. That
So
is
Satan,
still
dude.
the funniest thing I've ever seen.
I'll never forget that, dude. You know, and when I pulled that sucker out and my dentures were on it, I totally forgot that I was on live TV. I was like, wow, good job, bro.
That's
I'm
what
like,
made it the best.
So can you imagine what the bubble gum's going to be like? I'm going to be like, yeah, it's going to be horrible. But I do want to do it.
Well, okay,
I want,
think of it. Here's what I'm seeing, Scott. You're using
okay.
the bubble gum and you're blowing the bubble, and then it just pops and wraps all over your face.
Oh, dude, that would suck, dude. That would be horrible.
It would suck, but I'll still probably laugh at you.
For those of you who don't know, I am an ex-correctional officer. Yes, I worked at a prison. And yes, I've been pepper sprayed. And yes, it sucks. I do not want this bubble gum on my face.
You've been pepper sprayed?
I have. I've been pepper sprayed and I've been tased. And it's fun.
I know. I knew about the tasing. I've seen the video.
Yeah, I'm kind of strange. What can you say, man?
So let's see how strange Robert is.
Nothing like that. We can go back to our earlier conversation if you want, Jeremy.
No.
We're not going with that hot stuff. No.
Yeah, you're definitely a different kind of strange because, you know, before we came on talking about the pictures in the background, dude, those are strange enough for me.
Yeah.
Again, those are except for that there's 2 pictures back there, but what you can see, my medium, you know, she can see things real time, and you know, a lot of times most people think of everything as being human on the other side, and that's not always the case. And I couldn't see them, and I would like to know what she could see. So we end up paired her up with actually an artist from India. He's in India, and he works with her, and he's the one who actually sketches these out. So it gives me a glimpse of what she actually sees. They're not realistic, obviously, when, you know, or interactive, like when she's seeing them as they're a lot living, basically. I'm just seeing a picture.
Well, I definitely remember the little girl right there in the middle. I remember
Top or bottom?
on the top.
Yep.
The one that is right next to what looks like the Thing from the Fantastic Four. I'm guessing.
So these little guys over here, actually, matter of fact, we were at the Martinsburg Roundhouse, as I was talking about earlier. A woman came up and everybody had thought she was so crazy because she was talking about what she had seen. And that actually is to the detail of what she had seen before. But, until somebody else has seen what somebody else has experienced, it's all hearsay and, people make their judgments from it.
Right.
The little boy is Jeremiah. That was my most personal connection to a location that we had. Incredible. He'd do anything for me. And unless I told him to do it for anybody else, he wouldn't do anything for you. If I said, hey, turn the lights on for Jeremy, he'll do everything you say on command in a heartbeat.
Wow.
Little girl from 9/11. We're at a firehouse. She said, thanks for never forgetting about us. Pretty impressive.
Oh wow, that's gotta pull some heartstrings right there.
If it doesn't, you're not alive. I mean, it really does.
Wow.
She saw her go into a room. There was just some ambient light going into the room. Janie is who I'm talking about, saw him, our team medium. And she's like, there's this little girl in here. And she started talking. And she reached, for some reason, she just reached into, there was a big plastic tub and it had a bunch of posters. And as she pulled up the poster, it said, never to be forgotten. And the little girl said, thanks for not forgetting about us. So the fact that the fire department had a celebration about, remembrance of 9/11, that's what she was happy about.
Wow.
Pretty impressive.
Okay,
Yeah,
so
absolutely impressive.
So I'd like to dig in just a little bit more on the girl there. Was she in the tower, or was she on a plane?
I did not actually. I have not taken the time to find that out. I'm on the fence of how do you approach the parent if there is, if she is on one of them. Honestly, I haven't pushed it. Eventually I'm hoping kind of word of mouth spreads and somebody happens to notice that it looks like somebody they know from 9/11.
Mm-hmm.
It's always questionable. How do you approach somebody who has somebody on the other side, especially if you have a picture of them? Different people take it different ways.
Yeah, absolutely. Just want to say hi to Howard and to our sister and another co-host, Crystal, and to Ricky. I hope everybody's doing good. Oh, and our brother from Louisiana, Howard. How can I forget Mr. Aquatic Entity? And thanks for selling Melody.
And Crystal was just on Clarissa Hayler's show, who show debuted tonight on the Things Network.
And Clarissa did a great job. Tim and Crystal talked crap about me again, like usual. I don't know why. It must be my persona. I'm going to start talking like Forrest Gump. I don't know why, but I love you, Janae.
He's got that down pretty well.
Thanks, man. That's because I feel that way sometimes,
I can see it now. My name is Scott Wilson. You can call me Scott Wilson.
My name is Scott Wilson. You can call me Scotty. So since you got the move going on, Robert, have you guys been on any new investigations?
It's ongoing. It's like I've just got a call day before yesterday with another case, and this is the way they happen. They happen so often. It's that one in particular. I'll probably run out to it tomorrow evening, just because it's somebody's being physically attacked, and there's definitely some young children involved. So that we just keep on going with.
And that's really awesome, and that's what I love about you. Like, when you get a call like that, you're there, man. You go. You're not wasting any time. You're in the house. You're doing your thing.
I love the residential. And I've been doing it long enough now that I can. It's not hard really to see through. I mean, you get people that call you up that they're looking for attention. They don't want to actually. If they even had anything, they wouldn't want to get rid of it. But I get these calls like this. Unfortunately, this particular man's been knocked down, fall down, whatever, 5-6 times. Last time he was down his basement stairs till he ends up smacking the concrete and having to go to the hospital. I mean, it's getting pretty serious. So when something like that is that dramatic, or if there's a child that's at stake, we're gonna do what we have to do to get there. So I take it very personal. I love it.
You made a trip down to North Carolina for.
Yeah. I'll go pretty, I'll do what I can to go. It really depends on how work fits in to try to be able to get down to a location. And it depends on what's happening at the location. Most of them are usually within about 4 hours, but there's times, and I do things across the country. I just walk people through it. Actually, I send them out what I have, they need to have, put it in their hands. Then when they receive it, then we'll actually do the cleansing together. I'll do it over the phone with them. Put me on speakerphone or video chat, whatever you want to do, and we'll walk through the house and do it together. That's been extremely successful, fortunately.
I know that you had sent the package out to Tim and Crystal.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah,
Anytime
no,
somebody calls, I'm glad to.
Oh man.
so how did you get into the practice of that, building this kit and sending them out to people? What gave you the idea to do that?
That was my heart goes out when you get a call from somebody where the whole family is living in one room, or I mean, you can hear the terror in their voice when they call. I mean, they can't hardly carry a conversation, much less they're asking for help about ghosts, which sounds so fictitious as it is. It's hard enough for them to go ahead and dial my number and say, hey, look, I'm experiencing this. They'll usually spend the next amount of time trying to convince me that they're not crazy, just because that's the persona that this field has to it. So who do you reach to? So you get these people, and it's people from all walks of life that are reaching out. And, everybody thinks, well, if my house is really haunted, I'm just going to go ahead and pack up and move. And not everybody has the financial resources or the ability for some reason or another to be able to do that. So I feel bad for them. So I know what's been working for me, then I decided to go ahead. I'm always trying to test the waters and try to push it a little bit farther. I didn't know originally when I first started, I know certain things will work. I've got particular medallions, that I have blessed, and I do a blessing to them. And when they're in the person's hand, they seem to work extremely well. So if I have somebody being attacked, I'll usually send them that, even down to children or whatnot. And I can even tell by once they wear it, I'll have them wear it for 2 weeks. And depending on their reaction, I can tell if it's just something that's more so made up, for attention. I can tell if they're actually experiencing paranormal influences. It gives me it's an indicator. And then I use holy water. I use the white sage bundles, and I have prayer in particular that I use. So I did it one time, as far as since I couldn't go to a location, it was, yep.
Yep,
Came
I have
prepared.
them. Yep, I have them, and I, being horrible that I am, I've not called Robert back. So yeah, I have a medallion, and yeah, Robert confirmed some things with me and freaked me out a little bit when he talked about my house. So, which I really, until now, I haven't even told anybody about this though. But I called Robert because someone said that something dark was attached to me after an investigation, and I reached out to Robert. And funny, because I have my medallion, but I've not worn it as of lately. I still have everything to do with Robert, but as Robert and I was talking, he talks just going off about, let's say you walk into your house and you turn to the right and there's a mirror, and to the left is the kitchen. I'm like, well, wait a minute, dude. Like, you're talking about my dining room in my house. And he didn't believe me. And so I went upstairs. I'm like, hold on, Robert. I get Aiden, and I'm like, Aiden, if I take 5 steps, I went on my front porch. I said, if I take 5 steps, where am I? He's like, living room, Dad, or dining room. I'm like, okay. And if I go to the left, where am I? The kitchen. I said, if I go to the right, what's over there? A mirror. And I mean, Robert just explained everything. I'm like, dude, I'm like freaking out. I'm like, dude, I don't like this. But so yeah, a lot of people don't know, but yeah, I have the white sage, and I still have the holy water and the medallion that Robert sent. And I've talked to Robert, and Robert, he knows his stuff. And for those who don't think he does, I promise you, this man is real. His team is real. and his team's very good.
Yep.
And everybody's got to, you got to take and do things at your own pace. Scott, you know it as well. I mean, things were a little too hectic at the time. We've talked a couple times since. The idea is there's certain elements that I can put in your hands that I know what the results are going to be as long as you follow it. If you decide not to follow it, that's up to you.
Right. And like you said, things get busy, working 2 jobs. My wife is doing better now. She resigned from her job. We're trying to get disability. But I do what I can for everybody, and, like no chicken nuggets tonight. She made dinner, so I'm not going to complain, and it was a good dinner too. So I'm give and take a little, so.
But hey, never don't fear, Scott, because I've got this.
A Slim Jim. That better be a turkey Slim Jim.
No. It's not. It's beef, it's pork, and most importantly, it's savage.
It's savage. So what makes it so savage? Is it like hot? Is it hot?
No, it's
Then it's not savage, bro.
well,
Step up
it's
the game.
savage because it says it's
Randy Savage. My bad. Wow.
By the way, we bow to no corporate sponsor.
I can't. There's what? Lego Batman, or does that count? Lego Batman. There we go.
That's
McDonald's. There we go. McDonald's.
Okay. Robert, we heard some of the stories of what you guys have done. When it comes to the Elite Paranormal Society, how did you go about starting that up? When did you start it up, and do you still work with any of the original team members from whenever that was?
I started with another team originally. I was there for about a month and a half, maybe, if it made it that long. Pretty much learned really quick what not to do, or what the way I wouldn't do it anyway. And that's one thing is, even when you're watching videos, you can always watch what you don't want to do or how you don't think things should go over. We had a location that we went to and went to do the review, and basically the founder was like, okay, here's a CD with everything. Call us if you have any questions. And there was a little girl at that location that was terrorized from this monster. So I was like, can't we just stop and take the time to go ahead and talk to this family? And ideally, what we do, the approach is different. When we have children in there, I try to get everybody to sit down. A lot of times we'll sit down on the floor just so we're not intimidating. Same thing when we do investigations. And just kind of give you an idea where the whole ball of wax came from, what I wanted to do different when I watched this. I had somebody who had abilities that was with us, and before we went to this location, the background story of it is this little girl sees a monster every night. She's scared to death. There's another little girl, her sister sleeps in the same bedroom, but only one of them sees the monster. On the way over for the review, while we were at the location, the same woman now is in the front seat, and she says, hey, she turns around to the back seat. I'm riding with them. And she says, Rob, I see this little girl drawing a picture, and she's going to use yellow, red, and orange with colored pencils. Okay. I mean, if you say so, you kind of just shake your head and right on. When we were actually doing the investigation, she says, oh, this is so crazy. I'm watching this video in my head, and I see a man on fire. He's outside and he's on fire. And the homeowner's wife says, oh my gosh, that was my husband's best friend. He caught on fire outside. So now go back to the car trip. We're going over there, and she says, I'm telling you, I'm seeing this little girl draw with these 3 colors. Bear that in mind. So we get to location. The team founder's like, okay, here you go. Give us a call. I was like, well, can we talk? Yeah, if you don't mind, can we just sit down and talk to her? And then little girls kept coming in and out playing peekaboo at first. And then we sat down once we noticed they were there. Suddenly, this little girl comes in with about 100 pencils, colored pencils, and she sits down on the floor to draw us a picture. And she uses 3 colors: yellow, orange, and red. And she basically draws a man on fire. The man on fire was the gentleman outside who caught fire. He just didn't know. I knew in my heart, he just didn't know how he was presenting himself. The little girl could see him in his death state. So quietly, I just went up to the bedroom, had my own conversation out loud, and the little girl never saw the man on fire again, never saw the monster. So just learning that and some other things, I kind of learned how I didn't want to have it, but people are in need. So I wanted to make sure that, I wanted a decent team that would have, be very respectful of people, clients, and we could try to promote that. And at first it was documentation. Freddie has been on my team the longest, followed by Janie and Sean, her husband. Both, Freddie was probably 6 months to a year before Janie and Sean got on. So they've been with me for a long time. I did have a large team for a while. I had 14 people at one point. Sounds big, but having people's availability, and we're going to some pretty sizable locations too. So it's kind of nice when you can have multiple teams to go out there. That helps. And then you're always looking for good people as far as that can help do the investigation. So originally we started with the documentation like everybody else. And then it started more and more with people looking for help. And something in my personal life happened in the middle of it, which unfortunately I ended up going through a split at one point and did things I shouldn't have done, but woke up under a big white cross. And since then, definitely don't have a problem usually getting rid of anything. There was no training as far as it tells you how to do this. So now I'm trying to put this in a book so other people can do the same thing. But it's once you learn that it's more up here than anywhere else, you have a lot more control than most people out there.
Wow. Yeah, I can definitely relate to you on that. Having a pretty good sized team. You got a pretty good sized team now.
Right. Yeah.
Mine is right now we're down. I've got 6 people total. I have to count them on top of my 7 people total as far as on our team. But active wise, Freddie's been busy with work, so he tries to be as active as often as possible. So for the most part, it's Janie, Sean, and myself that does most of it. And again, when I need to, I'll just run out and treat a location if I have to. Ideally, Janie would do it if I need to, even if she isn't available, which she will be much more now because she lives with me. Prior to that, I would have her go ahead and do reads, and she can read a location. I just give her a phone number and a first name, and she'll tell me what's happening at that location, which gives me a big jump on everybody else.
And Janie is amazing because I talked to Janie as well, and she told me things that I was just like, I'm like, man, like you shouldn't know that, man. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, she is
every day, she comes up with, there's just things just flow. It just happens. The details that she gives to people is just amazing.
I have not been able to. I don't think I've talked to Janie myself.
I don't think so.
Yeah, I don't think I have. I should reach out to her sometime.
Oh yeah, Janie's amazing. I just want to say hi to Greg. Sorry, brother. Sorry it took so long.
Hello, Greg.
Hi, Adrian and Jacqueline and Chris and
Clarissa is on.
Clarissa's here. And Crystal, that is a rude comment. Why are you talking about my ears? What do you mean? It looks like your ears lowered, brother. You're so rude, dude. How you doing, Tim?
Have you had anybody kind of lead you out somewhere by the ear?
Just my mom and the one over there. How you doing? Hey. Growing up like we did, I mean, you get in trouble, you let your ears out. She's just saying that because I got a haircut today and it looks good, but it could have taken my ears back a little bit. I'd have been all right with that.
Well, she just said haircut, Dingleberry.
I'm just saying. Oh, haircut. Oh my, no, high and tight. My bad. But anyways, back to Robert. It's not about me. This isn't about me.
Oh
I've
no,
been
let's
looking.
make it about you.
No, this is about the man, dude. Like, I'm serious. Like, if they were to say, or if Jeremy says, "Hey, we got a chance to go to West Virginia tomorrow or next weekend to do an investigation. You want to go?" I'm like, "When we leaving, bro? Like, you get the Slim Jims, I get the Nuggies. We gone."
We are going to find a place that's, you know, a pretty good active residential. I've talked to Jeremy about before. I really do want to bring you guys out on a location. Um,
Absolutely.
you know, it
And it,
just,
sorry.
no, you're good. Go ahead.
It's for me. It's not about just investigating with you. It's about I would say more learning from you. You know, even like I've been in paranormal field 13, 14 years, and when I retired for a while before I came back in with Jeremy, it's like I lost so much information, and so much had changed in the 5, 6 years or so that I was out. So jumping back into it, it's like a new investigator. You know, I'm back into trying to learn all the new things, uh, like technology. I mean, man, technology, like it boomed so fast. Like when I started, I had a camera, little digital voice recorder. Yeah, this is awesome. You know, and now there's all the equipment. I'm like, ooh, spirit box, that's cool. And I got one. I'm just saying.
I think people get
That's my
too lost in the technology part of it personally. But again, just like yourself, I mean, the main point for anybody is as long as you're willing to be open to learn, who knows who's going to come up with the next right piece of the puzzle, you know? So you got to constantly be willing to learn. And I think that's where a lot of people go wrong is they watch it on TV, they start doing their little cookie cutter operation based on exactly what they see on TV, and they go out to the field the same way. And we know TV is 95% entertainment. You know, there were some teams that started out really, really well, but it's gotten to a lot more entertainment than anything. And you know, you got to break out. You can't be the same as everybody else. It just doesn't work.
absolutely, you know, and you're right. Like with TV now, you got all these people wanting to come out and do investigations, and it's hard because a lot of them want to go into every place and they expect every place to be haunted. Well, in reality, and not every place is going to be haunted. You know, there's going to be times you go into a place and you're not going to have anything. It's just the way it is. You know, I love the way Crystal said it earlier on Clarissa's show that not every place it has is demonic as well, and that makes a lot of sense. But watching these TV shows, they give it that sense that every place is going to be bad, every place is going to demonic. That one dude from that one show who he's always possessed. Um, you know, but and it's a sad truth because everybody wants it to be haunted, and unfortunately, not every place is haunted.
There's even places that I've gone to that they've changed. You know, the client would be like, it was my previous client, and things have been just absolutely awesome. They had spirits in their house. Nobody got hurt, and they're like, look, a producer is going to do a show at our house and everything. So if you could go ahead and give them information, but make it sound spooky, I'll walk away. It was never spooky. That's disrespectful. I'm not going to be disrespectful to the spirits or anybody else that's there. That's just wrong.
There's a lot of locations out there that are doing just that.
Well, and they don't even want you. It's like we go to the paid locations. Why does a paid location not allow you to get rid of if there's something really nasty there? Of course, they don't want you to get rid of it. If there's they have the same things we get where we get through ITC. You know, you'll get help us. You know, we're obviously someone on the other side is calling for help, but they're like, yeah, you can't help anybody. You can't cross them. You can't do this. Don't let me on your location because I probably ain't going to follow your rules. Just saying. It's just not right.
I think we would be the same way if we were to get an EVP that says help me or I'm trying to do this or whatever. We're going to do what we can to help. It.
I'm back. I'm sorry.
I thought you were having a meltdown for a second.
I talk to myself a lot. Like, are you okay? Yes. No, you're not. Yes, I am. No, you're not. You're an idiot. You are. You know, I do that kind of stuff. No. My wife was saying something. I'm like, okay, I'll talk to you later. Get it. No, I didn't do that. She'd be like, what? You coming at me, bro? No.
Now, you're right. A lot of people want to make everything out to be demonic. And again, the demonic's not even the worst that's even out there. If you disturb Native Americans, you can have a lot worse on your hands than anything you watch in the movies about being demonic. And, you know, and irritated, somebody who is absolutely very nasty and on this side can be the same way on the other side. I get to the other side. I keep saying it to everybody. Just be forewarned, because I will sound like a demon as best as I can.
Hold on. I got you, man. I got you.
Uh-oh.
The power of Christ compels you. I'm just saying. Look at it. I will holy water you everywhere. I'm just saying. But back up.
Bring it on.
No.
Okay, so I gotta tell you this, Rob. I don't know if anybody's told you this, but Scott had actually used that very phrase at a location that we go to quite frequently. The power of Christ compels you, and something came through. Was it the spirit box?
I think it was.
Yeah, something came through the spirit box saying that don't work here, boy.
It did, and it really did. Absolutely, and. You know what?
Threw everybody back there a little bit.
Robert? Now I think I know why. Because that was the last investigation that we did. Because that's when we were doing their paranormal relief project, correct? With a bunch of us in there just. Because I have not been on an investigation since.
Has it been that long for you?
It has.
Because I remember somebody saying something about that after we left Waverly, something attached itself to you there.
It did. That was one of the things, and that's why I kind of got a hold of Robert, and Janie kind of confirmed it wasn't a big place, but rather a smaller place, which I had not told her where I had been until after we started talking. And that's why I said Janie's amazing, because when I talked to Janie, Janie knew nothing about me or my situation. She just laid it straight, you know, and like I said, like she had no information about me, and there was things that she was telling me that, I mean, nobody knows, absolutely nobody, you know. For instance, I take Tylenol PM every night to go to sleep, and Janie told me that. She knew that I did that. And I'm like, well, how do you know that, man? Like, you know, like, you got a camera up in this house or something? Because, you know, I don't tell people, hey, guess what? I take Tylenol PM every night before I go to sleep. No, that's not something you're going to know because, well, my back hurts. Leave me alone. But she was able to tell me that. So she's like, man, you like your energy drinks too, don't you? I'm like, oh, my God. Like, here we go. My bad, Mom. Yes, I do.
Maybe I better not have a talk with Janie.
We can do it live. We'll do it live.
She is amazing. She really is.
The best part of her is, in all sincerity, she's incredibly modest. She's very, very
Yeah.
modest. She goes, it's not me. It's just my guides. They're just telling me what to say. She doesn't add to anything. A lot of people with abilities try to paint the picture for the client. They try to make it, mold it to the person. Well, if you don't know the person, how can you actually mold it to them? But they try to make what sounds good to them. And that's not the way. Watching Janie, it's not accurate too often. That's what I think the difference is. She gives it to you straight like it is. I mean, she doesn't pull punches. She's not trying to be rude. But even when she gets ready to do the read, correct me if I'm wrong, Scott, she'll tell you, look, I don't know what you know about it, but I don't want to know anything. Don't tell me anything. Let me go
Yep.
ahead and say, and then you can confirm if it makes sense. You can confirm that you know what I'm talking about, but let me tell you what they're telling me first.
Yep, and that is exactly when she's like, "Don't tell me nothing. I'm gonna tell you. You just let me know." And when she just started going, I'm like, this not even cool, man. Like, and and it's like I've always told people, like, if you don't know me, like, I'm a skeptic, but I'm a believer. Okay, so there's things I believe, but I'm also a huge skeptic, and that's why I called Robert, because I'm like, listen, man. Okay, I've had a couple people tell me there's something connected to me attached. I'm like, yeah, whatever, bro. And Robert's, I talked to Robert about it. He's like, well, let me get you Janie's number, or give me your number. I'll have Janie call you. I'm like, cool. So Janie calls me, and I'm like, I don't know this number. I ain't answering it. So I didn't answer the phone. So this is voicemail, and I get on, and it's like, hey, this is Janie. I'm, God, you idiot. Like I didn't know anybody from Ohio that I knew of. And so I called her, and I'm like, my bad. I didn't recognize your number. She's like, I do it all the time. I'm like, okay, cool. And yeah, she's very modest. And like I said, she told me stuff that a lot of people don't know about me, and she confirmed that there was something dark attached to me.
She really
And I
isn't.
have seen some previous episodes of Paratalk where it was just you and Janie when Freddie wasn't able to do the show. Janie would step in, and I see how she talked. I'm like, yeah, that is one woman you don't want to mess with.
Mm-hmm.
She means what she says. We give her a hard time. And again, even the poor woman has been tested 9 ways to Sunday, and it's always ongoing. There's always, like yourself, Scott, I'm going to try to debunk whatever until I have to have more than just her telling me something. Obviously, I can't go to a client and go, well, Janie says, but you can go back and watch our live videos, our investigations, and she'll say, hey, there's this person here, there's this dog here, there's this little girl here, and I'll try to role play to the little girl. And then if you go back and listen to the audio or the video, the whole video, you'll hear the little girl speaking, I want to pet the doggy, or whatever the little girl's saying. So it's not like she hasn't seen whoever's there. Scott, I just went down to your level, buddy.
You don't want to come down here. It's cold down here, bro. You don't want to come down here.
There's so many people out there, and there's a lot of people with abilities of different phases or different strengths, if you want to say. But unfortunately, just like with any type of job, company, or anything, you get people that they overplay their hand way too much, and that's why a lot of people are, they're very leery. Stay a skeptic until somebody proves otherwise. When you have somebody actually read you it either in person or over a phone, and you're not giving them all the information, and they're just hitting on one thing after another, when it blows your mind, and most of hers, the bigger skeptics she have, they usually walk away in tears. To me, that's awesome. She's reached down on somebody at that point.
Oh, yeah.
I would love to be able to do that with her. I had, like you said, I have gone through so many people who pretend that they are something that they're not. And I know that there are several people out there that really do have the abilities, but for me personally, I've only had two people prove beyond a shadow of a doubt of their beliefs. And I go to them all the time. And I have another person, and in fact, she's watching the show right now. She has been proving herself as
Yep.
well. In fact, we're working on membership. So,
No, she does not, Annie. She does not mess. Nope, you're right. I'm just yeah.
Robert, we do have a question for you here
Sure.
from Mr. Greg. Just wondering if you can send him a picture of the girl from the 9/11 picture to him in his messenger.
Yeah, that's cool. Make sure, actually, let me take a note on that for you. Hang on just a second. I got it.
And while you do that, I'm going to say hi to Sam. How you doing? And Crystal said it was when we took the junior team with us to Crown Point.
So that would have been back in November last year.
Huh. Yeah, and you know, like you was talking to one lady, couple of my empathy friends are in here, and they always know when something's going on with me because they message me. So stop it.
Howard's got
I'm just saying.
Okay, I love this right here. I really do. Howard says he's got abilities, and then Adrian comes back and says toilets don't count.
I heard
Adrian.
Howard has an ability to clear a room out with
Hi, Sam.
no sound, no nothing.
Hello, Nick.
I'm just saying.
Oh,
Were you going to say something?
No. I was looking. I thought, oh no, my Wi-Fi is going out because it looked like everybody had frozen there for a second.
Robert, one of these times we're going to have to catch Jeremy. We'll just have to sit there like this and let him think.
Right.
Let him think he froze, dude. This is great.
Yeah.
Wow.
But yeah, I no. All truth and honesty, I would love to work with Janie, just based off of your recommendation, because to me, your word is good as gold.
I appreciate that.
There's
So
no,
if,
yeah.
if you tell me anything about Janie, I'm going to believe you because I know that you truly believe everything that you're telling me. I mean, you know
Jeremy,
beyond a shadow of a doubt.
I guarantee it. Yeah. No doubt.
Jeremy, you've known me for 10 plus years. You know how I investigate. You know how I am.
Yep.
You know how skeptic I can be. And when if I look at you and say, Janie is legit, not Jeannie, because you don't rub. Janie is legit, and I'm telling you that. Yeah, I'm telling you that from a person who, you know, most times I like I said, when I called Robert, I was like, yeah, okay. So I got these people, whatever, blah, blah, blah. And she called, she's like, yeah, dude, you do. And like I said, when she mentioned, well, you take Tylenol PM every night, I was like, dang, like, now if she would have said, oh, you're a Atlanta Braves fan, come on, man. You know, that's a 50-50 or whatever.
Right.
You know, a tiny detail like that.
It's got to be specific.
It was very specific.
Dude, you can't hit on something like that. And dude, I'm like, I'm done. What do I do?
I just put a post out. My dad passed not long ago, and day before yesterday in the kitchen, I think it was day before yesterday in the kitchen, I mean, we were just standing there, and all of a sudden she's like, and you're waiting because I already know that look. All of a sudden it's like, okay, what's going on?
Yes.
And I have to wait for it.
Yeah.
And I have to wait for it. And she says, I just heard a woman talk. I was like, okay. She said Ford. Okay, Ford. I mean, again, it doesn't really mean much to me, but I play off of whatever she says as far as I don't just receive. I'm going to start asking questions because Janie or somebody with ability, they can get wrapped around with listening or trying to hear something, but I want to interact. So I'm like, forward, we're doing a lot with the house. Are we moving forward in the right direction? And she says, Jenny says that she starts speaking basically for the woman, saying that she's all around. She's all around. I was like, okay, don't really know what that means. Are you inside of the house? Are you inside? Or are you outside? Or are you both? Don't know. Then she said, Janie goes, you're her blood. I was like, and it starts filling in the blanks in a heartbeat. It's like, this is my grandmother. And she's like, yes. And then she starts giving details about it. And then Janie doesn't know, honestly, my relationship. She doesn't follow people. She doesn't follow anything. And she definitely does not know my more details of my relationship with my dad at the time. And the woman's blood, and then he's with me. And I knew what that meant. And I said, you talk about is my dad there and here, whatever, can he hear me? And Janie says, yes. And then all of a sudden it comes rushing over Janie. And it was all of his sorrow in her. She just couldn't hold it back. I mean, it was just coming through so hard. And she starts giving details about as if he was talking to me. Nothing planned. I mean, this is just out of the blue. We're talking about the house, and all of a sudden, this is just this crazy dump of emotions. But it's detailed. She's giving. So I'm laughing. I mean, I know I should be emotional, whatever. But to me, I'm always reading the people. Even Janie, I'm always reading her language and how. To me, it's phenomenal. I think it's cool. That she's got so much detail. She knows things about how he was with my mom, and then a particular brother of mine, what path he's going down, and she doesn't even know my brothers, but she's giving details the whole time, and it's like it's a crazy overload. It's like how do I get people to see this, because I want other people to be able to see it. The following night, she turns around. I said, look, can I get you? I had that call that I was talking about, the more recent one that I'll probably go to tomorrow night. I get this client who calls, and this poor guy's under attack. Everything he does, he's falling down or getting pushed down, whatever's actually happening. And so I'm like, can you do me? I didn't tell her anything. I just said, can you go ahead and do a read for me, which we did. And the night before that, when I asked her that, she hadn't done the read yet. I don't talk about my cases to Janie because I don't want to put anything in her mind. We go to a location. I want her to be completely open. A lot of people want to do all the research before they go to a location. And I get that. I mean, there's a reasons for it, but if you're actually going to treat a location, you got to see what's actually happening at the location you're trying to find out more quicker, because you're trying to resolve it faster. It's not something that draws out for months and years and all this other stuff. And so you need to be open. And Janie, just before we go to bed, she starts dumping on information about this case that she hasn't even called this person about. So I even took my phone and I just kind of quietly picked it up and hit record, and I recorded probably 7-8 minutes of her talking about the details. And sure enough, they were confirmed. All the details are confirmed the next morning when she talks to the client. Unbeknownst to her, she doesn't even know I have the video. But it's just, I'm trying to get more and more video of that so that people can see. And unless when we do our investigations, we go live and they're interactive. And there's a woman in Australia, Teresa. She's crazy accurate. So when a client is watching, they can watch the screen and they'll see the people's comments. And I do fortunately have people that have a range of abilities, and they'll start chiming in. Some will just go ahead and just send them to my phone because they don't want to be personal. They don't want ridicule or anything like that. But others will start chiming in about what's going on at the house, what's going on with the people, details the clients haven't even given me. So now the client's jaw's hitting the table because they're like, oh my gosh, look at this. This is crazy. Because they're accurate.
That is awesome, man. That would be kind of crazy just to start getting all that information. As a homeowner, I'd be like golly. But I like that, how you said treat it, because a lot of us, we want to go to these big locations to see all this stuff, and when I started out, it was more of not really trying to get into the big places, for me, it was residential. We wanted people to know that we were doing this, and we wanted to come in. And in my sense, I feel like, in a way, like we, as a paranormal groups, we've gotten away from helping people to wanting to get into all these big places where ghost adventurers go, where ghost hunters go, or Destination Fear. We all want to seek and go there and feel that thrill or whatever. And it's great, but it's like we've overlooked how it all started, and that was going into locations to help people. And yeah, not so much, it seems like, anymore.
Basically, we've forgotten why we've gotten into this.
Right.
Yeah, originally, people just wanted to know that they weren't losing their minds. They knew.
Yep.
They're like, I just need you to come in and tell me, am I going crazy, or is this really happening in my house? This, and they're trying to explain things. And you can understand it, because most of us have had it. Most of us try, like myself. Again, Scott, very much like yourself, I'm very skeptical about things. Even when I got a location, I have a location, and I bring it up a lot, because it's when you have 4 or 5 suicides inside the house by gunshot, another suicide outside the house by gunshot, a woman that hangs herself inside the house, 2 different teenage boys, different time frames, falling down the stairs, supposedly breaking their neck. And that's all documented in a simple house. That's not normal. I mean, if that doesn't start,
no.
But even then, it's documented. But I still need the house, something, whatever. I'm always looking for it to start proving itself. So you got to go in with your eyes open, and push the boundary a little bit. Kind of keep pushing the envelope, keep trying. Like with Janie. Janie used to live 2.5 hours away from me up in PA. I had somebody local over in Middletown. A woman went missing. So out of curiosity, I shoot Janie a picture of this woman. There's nothing with the picture. It's just the woman that supposedly went missing. I don't know her. Janie definitely doesn't know her. I sent her a picture, and she goes, yeah, the husband knows exactly what happened to her. I said, well, evidently she went missing. No, she didn't go missing. And then she starts giving details, and then the details end up coming out in the police report. They find out. I mean, Janie goes to the point of saying she dropped something in the grass, and there's something about a piece of glass in the house. And then I'm like, is she still living or not? She's like, no, I just see all trees, and I see water. She's in water, and I see all trees. And they found the woman in the stream. And when the police went back on the second time to the house, they found the details on the glass, and whatever it was, her cell phone or something, had been dropped in the grass. So the glass and the grass both played a part. It's just a little test I do from time to time. A little boy that went missing in Colorado, and they couldn't find. Somebody reached out to me and said, hey, they know Janie. They said, what can she tell us? Because they were with the police department, and they said, out of curiosity, what can Janie get off this? Janie gets to a point where, and it was a very popular one. I just sent 2 pictures of the little boy. Then she says, well, a woman knows exactly what happened to him. I'm like, okay. So I sent a few pictures of different women, one of which was the stepmother. She immediately ID'd the stepmother and said, that's the one that did it. And then went on from there and gave crazy details, about what. She even said that this little boy was stabbed, shot, and bludgeoned in the side of the head. And I was like, who would do that to a little boy? All 3 things happened to the little boy.
But how old was that little boy?
I think he was something like 8 years old or something. He was 8 or 10. He was very, very young. But all 3 things happened to that little boy that she had given details to that was not in any of the police reports. They hadn't found him, didn't know anything at the time. But she had given a list of details. And there's a little girl in Tennessee that went missing, and Janie drew me a map. And so I even tried contacting him, because I was so close when I was going down to Carolina. I was North Carolina, out on the west side. I was probably only a half an hour away from the area of the house where the little girl went missing. And I was so close to just, I wanted to go over there. I contacted the police department, everybody that was working on it, because I wanted, and they get a lot of leads, and I get that. But Janie's like 1,500 feet away. The little girl is 1,500 feet away in a crevasse of some rocks. They can't see by looking down. She's there. And she told me what the little girl was wearing. The reports come out. The little girl's wearing the pink. And there's a couple other people that, they don't want to speak up, but they gave me the same details. So again, it just, you don't know how far can this really go.
Okay, so with this, does Janie work with police on active missing persons cases?
No, we haven't set anything up. Janie doesn't, she gave me the information. Another person who had a lot of details actually submitted it to the different police and the FBI. Everybody had numbers and whatnot. Janie does not. We've only done it a few times. I started talking about, that's one thing I want to actually, an avenue I'd like to look at is, get a few people together, Janie and a couple others, that are interested in doing this. And even if it was in the tri-state or within a few states that we can actually take the trips, I'd be all for it. Because again, we're always pushing, and I know there's people, I've heard of people, but again, now I'm watching it happen for myself. Just the crazy details that are coming out.
Okay, so with that, after this show, I would like to send you a couple of pictures myself because there is an active case that.
Don't say where it's at. Don't give me no. I don't.
No, I won't say where it's
Okay.
at or who it was, but there is an active case that I tried to help a little bit with somebody else a while back, and so far it's nothing has been solved or found or anything like that. So I would like to see if maybe Janie might be able to pick up on something.
The little boy in Colorado, Janie even gave the time frame of when his body would eventually be found, and it was found in that time frame. I mean, that's what I'm saying. When it's crazy details like that, how is that possible? But why not expand on it? Why not learn from it?
To a skeptic, it shouldn't be possible.
Right.
But it is. You know what,
really
Scott?
is. I mean,
Scott, I'm telling you right now, I want to get Janie on this show.
oh, absolutely. I would love to have Janie on this.
Yeah.
And it's not to make her, popular or anything. It's not that. It's just she's an amazing person, and
Yeah.
She
Janie's
has no
here,
experiences.
like Robert's right there, so it's a neck and neck race. It's like, because Robert, you're amazing as well, and
She swears she's here for me. I believe I'm here for her. I mean, it's again, and she doesn't care about popularity. She really does not care about popularity. I want people to, because she has the ability, and I've seen the ability so many times, I want people to see that there's a lot of other people out there that truly do have abilities. I'm not saying she's the only one with abilities by the farthest.
Right.
I just test her. Up until last year, I always go, you just got lucky again. Yeah, she just gave me 20 different details that were absolutely dead on, but I always keep trying to downplay it. After a while, you kind of run out of that, like, wow.
I know, it's like, you know what? You've already proven yourself to me. I give up. I'm going to take you for your word. If you say Bambi's on the other side of that wall, damn it, Bambi is on the other side of that wall.
Ask her husband. Poor guy can't get away with anything.
Never. Oh my God, that would suck.
I kind of feel sorry for him because that woman has to be the hardest person to buy a birthday gift or a Christmas gift for.
Like any dumb thought that comes in his head, she's probably walking up going, she smacks him. He's like, what's that for? She goes, I know you're going to do it. You just ain't done it yet. I swear to God.
That'd be your love, Scott.
That would be I know you can do it. I'm just going to smack you now.
Okay. So how did you come about meeting her?
Yeah, we say the world, it's a small world. You hear the term, it's a small world. A lot of people on the outside of the paranormal, they think everything's a coincidence. It's the way things happen. I definitely believe that people get put in our path for a reason. Mm-hmm. One of the team members on my team, Janie, had just moved into the area. A couple days later, she gets a job. She goes to her supervisor the second day and says, hey, look, I know this is going to sound crazy. I promise you I'm not a nut, but I got to tell you, because you got this guy right here with you, and I got to tell you the information that he's trying to give, that he wants you to know. And that supervisor was one of my team members. And she's like, oh my gosh, you're going to have to come out to this location that we're going to be going to. Rob would really like to meet you. I guarantee you. So a team member called me up, said, hey, can I bring her out? I was like, sure. And she got to the location, and I figured the team member might have told her some of the things about the location. So, I mean, there's like 12 or 14 of us standing there, which is not easy to walk into a group of strangers and just, but her and I, right from the jump, I mean, we were very, very relaxed with one another. Matter of fact, Freddie, if he's still on, it's like,
He is, as of 2 minutes ago.
he's like, yeah, right, whatever. And she turns around to him and she says, and you, I don't like you because you're trying to test me. And he's just like, oh my God, Rob, you're not going to believe this, but I was just saying. And so I had her go through the location. I said, can we, let's go ahead and do a walk if that's all right with you. Tell me what you're getting. And there was details that she gave about that place that, even the woman that was with her couldn't have had. I mean, she was just dropping detail after detail. And it's like, I mean, don't get me wrong. She could stand there and we could just be doing everything would be fine for an hour. And then gosh knows, all of a sudden somebody's getting, we were at the Martinsburg Roundhouse and didn't have a big audience at the time while I was doing the talk, but she turned around to the guy in there and she started telling him about his cancer and that it was going down. And he just got confirmation earlier that day that his cancer had definitely shrunken, and she was giving him some information about it. It was just detailed information, a stranger.
That's awesome, man.
So
that'd be good news to hear. I mean, it really would be. And Freddie said hi.
We do have a question. It pertains to Janie, and it would actually make sense, this one here. When you provide accurate tips to the police, do they look into you as a suspect?
They'll ask you how would you know that information? How would you do it? And again, Janie's not the one that wants to go to the police about it because she doesn't like the idea of the ridicule that is usually going to be coming with it. I will reach out, and will they start questioning? Absolutely. I don't care. I give them any information they want. It's like, here, you got my name, you know my number, you want my address. I'll give you anything you want. And I know you, and I always explain to them, look, man, I know you guys are getting 1,000 leads and it's driving you crazy. I get it. I'm just, if you could put me in touch, like the little girl in Tennessee, I begged. I was like, if you could just put me in touch with the volunteers, just give me 2 volunteers. Give me, it would take 20, 25 minutes, worst case, and what's the worst case? They don't find anything. You guys haven't found anything yet. Now, again, I'm not knocking you, but what if this is the right one to get you there? So they're not, a lot of locations are not quick. A lot of police departments and whatnot. Some of them definitely work with psychics, and that's wonderful, but a lot of people are still very close-minded to it. And again, because they get such a range of people, people wanting to help, but they really don't know their abilities well enough. And they start trying to make things make sense. And then they give information that's not accurate. People go on wild goose chases so many times. They're like, yeah, I'm not going to deal with you guys.
Yeah, kind of like your ability.
Yeah.
That
was a lucky guess. That was a lucky guess, brother.
That wasn't a guess, dude. That was crazy accurate, man. Like crazy accurate. I was like, this dude just explaining my downstairs. What the? Yeah, dude. So not that I only have Janie telling me that, but I had you tell me that before I even talked to her. So yeah, I was. It was still awesome.
Lucky guess.
Whether it's lucky or not, but whether it's luck or not, dude, that was so. Awesome.
The longer we spend in this field, the more our mind opens up and things happen. The problem is we haven't learned to hear the information that's coming to us. It's real easy to think, there's a computer in front of me, there's a camera in front of me, whatever, and we're not thinking about what else is actually potentially here. And I get it. I understand. It's people say, well, things can't really be moved by things that are unseen because they don't have a body. But everything in this world is energy. And that's the difference. And again, knowledge is power. Once you get it up here and you start understanding and looking at things differently, it can open up a crazy world to you.
And that's why, I always say, like, I know Jeremy's smart in the paranormal. I'm okay. But when it comes to you, you're on a whole, for me, you're on a whole new game. You're so, I don't know the word I'm looking for. But it's amazing. Right. I mean, it's astounding, your knowledge.
You're at the top of the mountain. Robert.
Absolutely.
I'm just like you guys, man, just trying to find out what's there. That's all it is, man. We're all the same.
Yeah, but the thing is, you gain all this knowledge here, and this is what I love about your show, because every time I watch your show, I am learning something new every single time. That's why I watch your show as much as I can.
Yeah,
I
and
definitely.
not just with you. I mean, you and Freddie as well. I mean, you from the way you talk about your team and the way you guys click. I mean, with Jeremy and us, we have a good click, and that's the most important thing is that click.
Yeah.
But you guys have that bond and that click that seems just unparalleled. Like you're not Zach going to send Aaron to go down to the scary basement. You know what I'm saying?
I'll take that.
You're going to be like, I'm going there. We going there. You know what I'm saying? I mean, I'll go there. I'm just saying, Jeremy would be like, go there. I'll be like, cool, I'm going.
it it's all about the chemistry that, and I brought that up to you many times, Robert. The
Yep.
chemistry that you and Robert have, at least on camera, is just amazing.
What you see, that's why I love doing the lives. What you see is really what you get. In all sincerity, I don't want there to be any question about it. What you see between, you'll hear Janie and myself bicker. Everybody thinks she's my sister, and that's why I call her my sister, because we do. It's fine. I mean, she'll be getting freaked out, and I'll be laughing at her, and she'll be hollering at me that it's not funny. And what else would a brother do?
I know you probably laugh at more things than I would ever dare to laugh at.
I had a location where guy called me because his best friend just went absolutely nuts. He's ransacked the house for the last couple of days, threatening to kill him, all this crazy stuff. And okay, so you go there and the guy starts screaming, I'm going to kill you. I mean, just out of the blue, and and his buddy who was sitting on a table just about through the roof at this point, through the ceiling, he's like, oh my, he just keeps, to me, it's funny. I mean, you just watch this quick change happen. And again, it's not that it's funny, ha ha, but you have to keep control. And if you keep control, it doesn't matter how we're on the physical plane. That's what people just, again, it's the hardest thing to get people to comprehend. We're here. We do have the dominance as long as you apply it. And that's where faith comes in. People get freaked out, and it doesn't matter from the lowest person to the highest person in the clergy or whatever. I mean, they're human, and fear is definitely part of our human nature. But when you can beat that with faith, you know who's got your back. Bring it on. It's not that I'm antagonizing, but I'm not worried about it at that point. So I do see there's a lot of people that claim to have faith. And again, I'm not watching it like Janie does. I mean, Janie has seen it real, and it's coming at her, and you'll watch her get hit and pulled, choked, and everything else. Still humorous as hell to me, but that's one of those things. I'm like, do we got that on camera? Exclamation from Janie.
And then maybe later on a slap from Janie.
But that few of those have happened more than a couple. I'm good with that. If that gets it out for.
Okay, we have something from Greg, and he's asking if you've heard of Project PSI, and if not, apparently he thinks you need to check it out sometime.
What does PSI stand for? Can you tell me that? Taking it's paranormal something or para? Greg, if you could, just let us know. Not right off the top of my head. And I'm at fault for not, honestly, I don't follow a lot. These guys, I go ahead and I'll jump on here and I'll check their shows out and stuff, but I do not honestly follow a lot of shows. I'm usually out in the field. I have two jobs, two full-time jobs. I'm usually helping people, and that's where I'm fortunate at. When my team and I are talking, anybody on my team, we're just talking from experience, and what works for you is great. What works for us might be a little bit different. I just go with what works. It's like my cleansing practice. If you go on there and you tell somebody, hey, you need to cleanse your house, sage your house, do whatever. Half the people are going to say, no, it doesn't work. But how did you do it? There's the difference. The steps I'm taking are probably different than your steps. People want to say, hey, act like Harry Potter and go, okay, and we're done. Yeah, it ain't gonna work.
Yeah, I remember when you sent Crystal your kit, you had very specific and explicit instructions on how to do the saging,
Yeah.
and she made sure to follow it to a T.
I originally started the same way, like everybody else. You read the stuff on the internet, you think, okay, well, the more you get into this, the more you find out what's on the internet. Guess what? News block, unfortunately, no.
Right.
Most of it is wrong.
Right.
Uh-huh.
And it's not because people mean to always put the stuff out there, but again, the first thing people generally do is they'll go to some type of chat, some type of group, and post what they have, and then people are going to tell them, of course, they need to stop doing the drugs, there's no such things, whatever. But they're not the ones with their kids being terrorized, pushed around, scratched, whatever.
Right.
More and more people are jumping on trying to get as much documentation by their cameras and different things. And again, it doesn't take much to find out whether or not somebody is really experiencing it. But if they go on for a group, that's all they get is more so the ridicule rather than the help. And that's the problem out there. We need more people to try to help. And whatever works. I mean, when I first started, and I even now, if I do something live, and I've done it live is when I'm treating a location, I don't care what your religious background is, what you want to use. If you can, Jeannie Blinken make things better for that family, it's about the family. It's not about me. It's not about Janie. It's not about getting hits on our video or something. It's about trying to put it out there and let other people help. I believe in the power of prayer, and it doesn't have to be the same prayer.
And on the whole thing about cleansings and everything, Clarissa's got a question. Where is the best place to get the information on how to do that?
For I have my own. Mine is basically Christian based. I'm using holy water. I'm using the white sage and prayer. I have that online. You can certainly go to my page and get it. You can go on our webpage, eliteparanormalsociety.com. It's actually on that as well. Or you just contact me. Feel free. You can hit my team, Elite Paranormal Society, any of the avenues. And that's just me. That's the way I do it. But it's been extremely effective. So I don't change what I do.
Right.
And what I've been telling people, if it's coming from you, take it to the bank.
Yeah, Robert is as real as they get. Like I said at the beginning of the show, Robert doesn't sugarcoat anything. He tells you like it is, and that's why I love about Robert. Like he'll tell you like straight out how it is, and
we get people they'll say, look, I'm experiencing this. And then I pulled a Ouija board out and try to communicate. And then I know. And then things went really crazy. So I got rid of the Ouija board, and then it went for a little while. And I decided, I really want to try it again, and got another Ouija board. And then I sent that one. I was like, what'd you do with that one? Well, I sent it back to Amazon, said it didn't work. Well, it was working, unfortunately, too well. Somebody, you might not want to buy the returns.
Right.
But she's talking about how it's impacting her fiance, everybody, their lives and everything else. And it's like, the question comes down to, what do you want? Are you ready to get rid of it? Because I knew she wasn't. And she goes, well, I can't really answer that yet, even though she was having all kinds. So at that point, there's nothing more I can do. I mean, you can't make somebody get rid of something they don't want to get rid of. Ultimately, it comes down to the person.
Right.
And in our field, Scott, perfect example. It can happen to any of us. I've had 2 attachments, and I wasn't even aware of them. But things can happen.
And for those who don't know, I still have not gotten rid of this dark thing. I haven't. I have not called Robert, and it's not because I want to keep it. I'm an idiot, and I push stuff in the back of my mind, and then my life gets busy, and I'm like, man, we're gonna have Robert on, and wait a minute, you're an idiot because you were supposed to call him back months ago, and you got something going on. But I said, life got busy from the time that I talked to Robert, and he's like, man, I got this stuff, I'm gonna send it to you. And I talked to him, I'm like, dude, I'm sorry I haven't called you. This has been going on, this is going on. And then all of a sudden it was like boom, boom, boom. Jeremy, what I've been going through as well,
I do.
and now it's just like, pardon me. Now it's just like I'm trying to breathe and just make sure I'm biting and doing that, and then I'm like, man, like you still got something going on, dude. Like, but like you said earlier, Robert, because now that I'm so busy, there could be stuff happening, but I'm not noticing it because I'm not slowing down. Like I'm getting busier and busier, and it's just like, man,
But you got to
like
do
I got
things when you're ready. It's
right.
I'm not judgmental. That's up to you. But I'm not going to chase you either. I mean, we talked a couple of times even
Yeah,
throughout. But I'm not going to sit there and I'm not going to go overboard chasing.
right,
The person has to decide what they want when it's right for them. And I completely get that. What's been bigger that has shocked me is people that know me and know what seems to happen. I mean, things get cleared up and everything. They're usually they're worried about me being busy. So they go elsewhere and they keep trying to live with things. And some of my really good friends, all of a sudden they're like, and they finally call when they're in tears and crying and hating life and going, I've been dealing with this for the last couple of weeks. And this is just absolutely crazy. And I can tell, they're very sincere, but
right.
again, they're just worried about reaching out, bothering somebody. And unfortunately, that's part of it. And that's some of my really close friends. It happens.
Yeah, I mean, I think I sent you at least a couple texts before. Like, dude, I'm sorry if you're busy, man. You get a chance to call me, or I'll call you. Yeah, I get that.
It's
So
just that mentality that a lot of us just hate to have to bother somebody, and I understand it. So, the only other part is when you get rid of something for somebody, things clear up and they don't have any activity and they decide to go back to the well. They decide to go ahead and start asking questions in their house or trying to see if it's there and something answers. That's called an invite. They will answer you. I,
so what
I
you're
don't come
saying
back.
is,
People don't learn from their mistakes.
I don't
so
come
if I
back.
get rid of this, don't be invited. Like, hey, you want to have a Coke or something? No, okay.
Especially
And
in
I
your own,
know I'm joking, but
but in your own house, you get these guys. And again, Scott, you might have done it. You ever go to a location and say, hey, use my energy, do what you want, blah, blah, blah. There's
nope,
plenty.
I don't know what you're talking about.
You have just openly invited anything positive or negative. Guess what happens? How'd that work out for you?
Normally, I ask them to punch the big guys, like Jeremy or Tim Kohler. Like, hey, come over here, and I got a big dude right here. You can punch him.
If Freddie's still on here, he's the bigger guy on the team and he'll usually get attacked. That's very common.
Well, I just think it's better if the big guy gets attacked and not the little guy because I'm small and it might hurt. So hit the big guy.
The problem is when they get the big guy to try to hit you is the problem. That happens too.
Right.
I'm not a fan of that. I've
Well,
learned
that hasn't happened to us, but I can tell you for sure, Scott has been stood up twice.
Yeah, I have been stood up. This is a true story.
Yeah.
That's a very true story. Nobody at Crown Point loves me anymore.
Now, here in just a second, I would like to get into Freddie, but before we talk about Freddie, there is one more question for you from Clarissa about Janie. She's wondering about her doing readings for anybody who reaches out to her.
Janie, if it's a case, Janie does the readings for the case. Right now, of course, in the move, we actually put on our page. Myself and another person ended up creating a page for her because it just made sense for her to go ahead and have an avenue for people to get in touch with her. And she does her paid readings, like she does $40 for a reading for just people in general. But when it's case related, those are different where I can ask her to go ahead and do a reading for somebody. She'll do it in a heartbeat. Or if it's one that we're going to, she does those. But she will do readings for people.
Okay, and then real quick, Greg
Yeah,
responded.
Yep.
It's Science of the Paranormal.
Did you see the one above that? It says explains it a little bit. Yeah. I can't click it, so I feel like an idiot.
That's why I keep trying to get you to come in under our account so that you can be able to do this stuff.
I forget passwords and stuff. It's okay.
You don't need a password. All you need to do is just one time and then just don't log off. Just close the window. Don't log off.
Okay. I'll set it next time.
I never log off, so I never have to do the code unless I'm getting in on my phone.
You're not old either. Shut up.
Thank you, Greg. I appreciate the information on that.
Okay, so now, Freddie Johnson.
Yep.
Freddie Johnson.
You two have such an amazing chemistry on the show. How did you guys meet?
Freddie had a team he was one of the founders of the team, and quite honestly, he was taken off the team. He had really no choice, so it was better for him to back away from the team, which he did. Two other team members that was with the original team that I had joined for about a month and a half were removed from the team, but I liked them, and the woman had abilities, and they communicated well. So it was either going with Elite Paranormal or the Misfits. One of the two were going to happen. So, with people I ended up picking up the first two. I said, let's go ahead and create a team. We talked about it. And then they knew as Freddie. So we had a meeting pretty quick, brought Freddie on. He was very straight up. My whole point is I'm looking for people that have character, that are very straightforward. I mean, integrity is everything. And yes. I watched some of the videos of the team he was with, found some of the really bad, between rattling chains, hitting pipes. I've seen their own videos of them drinking, doing whatever. I'm like, that got crazy. Matter of fact, the local 3 teams around me suddenly went on the attack when I first started my team. Posting all kinds of stuff about my house, my wife, and everybody else on the social media. It was pretty crazy. So that's how Freddie came about. And then Freddie knew a couple different people that we had brought on since. A couple different team members that have come on were people that Freddie had known. We try to go by word of mouth. Somebody one of us knows to bring them on.
That's awesome. And how long has Elite Paranormal Society been in operation? 2000.
We've been 12. I want to say 12. I think we're at 12 years. I haven't tracked it for anything right now. I can't tell you the dates of anything. I believe about 12 years we've been active. So
that's right around the time that I created things.
We've been
October of 2009.
It's been phenomenal. I've been blessed. Even when I had a large team, the people were really, really good people. Don't get me wrong. It just got to a point where, unfortunately, there's a lot that goes on behind the scenes. By the time going through your evidence and really going through that a lot, and it got to a point where people I think they just burned out of it. They wanted to be in front of the camera, but they really didn't have the time to go over their evidence. And I'm all for sharing. I don't give a care. I don't care who's in front of it, as long as we're presenting it the right way. My point was to, just like the EPS talk shows, we're just trying to get the information out there. We're trying to create an avenue for people to learn from, so you don't make the same mistakes we made. Because I still make mistakes, plenty of mistakes. Oh, yeah. So yep. If you don't have to
make a mistake.
Yeah. So if you don't have to make the same mistake, and it could be a tip for how to debunk something, how to actually run the DVR the right way, how not to go ahead and white out each other with the IR lights, not pointing them at each other. There's a lot of simple tips. And so we try to get those out to people, and also at the same time, try to broaden people's ideas out there. I love a disembodied whistle, and it's a simple thing. It's a very distinct sound. It's not like that little whisper or anything. When you try to get somebody, you say, hey, can you do this? And all of a sudden, it could be a minute later, out of nowhere, that whistle comes back. So trying to get other people to get the same thing. I think that's important.
That's pretty awesome,
Yeah.
Thinking about a whistle. No, I'm serious. Like you trying
Robert
to get
and
some.
I have gone into great detail on that. In fact, that's
You
what
guys
he
and your
was talking
whistles,
about
yeah.
earlier when talking about bringing in a case. I am waiting for him to bring the right case to do a proper experiment with the whistle under controlled setting.
Your dog whistle you're talking about, right?
Yeah. And so far you haven't had one yet, but I'm still waiting on that.
You walking in here acting like you all spawn of Satan and stuff. I'm on live podcast. You want to come over and say hi, Satan? Say hi, Satan. What's
Sup?
up? Sorry, she just got home from
Very
babysitting.
shy.
She slammed the door, and I'm looking at her like, "What are you doing?" Like, bro.
Yeah, Daddy's back on a podcast.
Yeah, let's make noise. We know Dad don't have his own studio.
Wouldn't that be sweet though? Having your own studio for this stuff. Speaking of which, um, EPS Paratalk.
Yep.
Note, I did not say ESP like I did last year. I don't know how many times I said that, and you did not correct me one time.
It sounded fine to me. You were doing fine. You were on a roll. Go with it.
I was. So EPS Paratalk. How long had you been doing it? And what gave you the idea initially to do a show?
We've been doing the Paratalk for a few years now. The idea was, again, it's one of my team members, actually it was Gilson, one of my previous team members. He just wanted to, he's like, you got this information. Why don't we just start doing these talks with like equipment, using a recorder? Why don't we just, because how many people walking in, what kind of recorder they need to get, whatever, how do they actually use it? So him and I down in the basement, he did a couple of videos of me doing, this one or that one. And then we started building into it. It's like, why not do a talk show? And then we could also put more of my team members in it at different times. Usually, ideally, just 2 or 3 people. Sometimes we'd sit around a fire and do the whole group and just talk about some of the stories. And it was a great way to network because, we met a lot of people and, they would constantly hang out with us. I mentioned Teresa, Philip down in Georgia. People with abilities was one thing that I certainly appreciated because they could turn around and they would follow some of our live feeds and then they would give their input as well. And I'll use, even if somebody asks, just anybody asks and says, hey, have asked this question, I'll try to ask it. It might work. How do we know which one's going to be the right spark to make things start to interact? So it got its own following. Things were going really, really well. So we just decided to keep on going with it. It seemed to be the right thing to do. And again, it was another avenue to put information out there that we were learning. And again, I'm not saying that I know it all. We're always learning, adjusting to the field. And then again, trying to push the boundaries and think outside the box.
And right here, ladies and gentlemen, he is on this network Sunday afternoon, 12 o'clock Eastern time.
And it is a blessing to have him on this network. If you guys have not caught his podcast,
Y'all are crazy.
No, it really is. You and Freddie are amazing. I'm going to keep saying it. I've said it since like the very first time I got a chance to talk to you. We're going to have Freddie on too. They really are. Like I said, these guys are the legit paranormal investigators that if you want to be like anybody out there, you want to be like EPS. You want to be like, and Robert's going to say, and he's a very modest guy. He's going to say, no, be you. But the way Robert goes about going into investigation and the things he does to help people and do, that's what teams need to base how they do things on, in my perspective. Just the way you and Freddie do it and the way you guys talk on your podcast and you go through things and the way you break things down It's for people to understand and how to do that. You guys are off the charts, man. And I'll say this until I no longer do podcasts or whatever. Uh, you guys are the leaders, man. You're like the generals. You're special forces, and you guys just lead the way.
And we are so honored to have you on this network.
Speaking for Freddie and myself, we sincerely, for all my team members, we very, very much appreciate that in all sincerity. Again, we're just like everybody else, just trying to learn and just taking it from there. Anything we can do, we love networking. We're always learning. Again, I can't say it enough. I can't stress it enough. We're always learning, even from. I have coworkers in different places to be, hey, have you ever thought about this? And they don't even do anything in the paranormal, and yet they turn around and have great ideas. Anybody can bring great ideas to it. Freddie, we're just trying to help. And that's exactly what it comes down to. And that's the mentality. People, we've been told, hey, you don't know what you're doing. You're going to get people hurt. My wife asked me, my ex-wife, asked me at one point, like 6 months ago, or I guess longer than that, maybe a year. But she's like, aren't you afraid you're going to get somebody hurt? I was like, do you have any idea what kind of cases I go on, what's happened to these people already? You can't have a heart if you see what these people are going through. You can't. I mean, because you can see the people. I don't care how much money they have, but you see where they've been tore up so bad. How can you not try to help? So
Right.
Night, daughter.
She's still heckling you?
If anybody can help with teenagers, throw some water or something on them. Ooh, good Lord.
Yeah, mine doesn't work on them either.
Well, they
You have your own holy water there. Douse her.
I don't think it's going to help. They're not demonic. They're just bullies. They're like, hey, Dad, what are you doing, little guy? And I'll be like, yo, like, you're grounded. And they're like, I want to put you in the corner.
Sprinkling on her and see if you hear a hiss.
No, because then I'm scared because that is my spitting image. She acts just like this guy right here. And I had to kick my own butt for letting her act like me.
Scott, get you a pair of red contacts, and next time she comes up to you, just be very gentle. What do you want? And work on it.
What is it you want? You say, I can't do it, man. I mean, I can't even sound manly. I mean, what are you doing?
It's like,
oh my God.
Get out. Maybe I could have Alexa do it for me or something. Hey, Alexa, make me sound manly. Okay. I'd even have that laugh at me. Like, okay.
By when we do our shows.
Hey, if anything, I will make you laugh. That is my job. They're like, what do you do in the paranormal field? I make you laugh. That's what I do. I make you laugh.
Bye, Sam. Thanks for joining.
Yeah, thanks, Sam.
Yeah, Scott is like the comic relief for the team. He just keeps everything lively. But when it comes to doing investigation, you be hard pressed to find anybody more serious at what he does.
I try to be, and sometimes I get a little handout of being goofy, and I think it's because, like, starting out like I did, just doing everything really seriously, I forgot how to have fun, and that was my problem. I forgot how to have fun, because when I ended up doing my own team, like the two of you are doing now, I wanted to do residential cases, so for me, it was a matter of, promoting and doing this and that. And to me, it almost became like another job. It really did, and like you said, getting evidence and presenting the evidence. And man, I like you said, I got burnt out, and it was time for me to take a step back because I forgot what it was like to enjoy it and to have fun. So when Jeremy brought me back out, I started having that fun again. I started enjoying it, and and when there the times there, I do want to be serious, but there's a little times I want to have a little fun. I'll scare Crystal like I normally do at Crown Point or whatever, or Holly, like Lee and Adrian. I think it was either Holly and Adrian or Holly and Crystal tried to scare me at Waverly. I'm like, oh, you got me, But
I think that was Holly and Crystal.
that's just me. I'll bring a little bit of laughter into your life, but I'll be serious when I need to be serious. So.
And something that is not very widely known is that at one time I was going to join Scott's team.
This is a true story. Absolutely.
Yep.
Which I'm glad you
It's
didn't
just
because
funny how these things.
yeah, because I don't think we'd be here if you did.
Well, I do know that if it wasn't for your idea, we wouldn't be all in front of our computers at this very moment having this conversation.
Yeah.
Freddie brings most of the humor.
Say what?
Freddie brings most of the humor for us.
Freddie,
fortunately, he really does. I mean, he can make. We can be so tired, and what he can bring to it, and you do need that. You need that. That's part of the chemistry. There's a time to be serious, and when you can. And he'll back me down a little bit because I'm more apt to be more serious most of the time. And then he'll do something that just, you can't help but to start laughing. And then it's downhill from there. We start going at it pretty well, but he's been through a lot. Probably doesn't get the credit he should be getting. The one behind me where you can see the ribs.
Mm-hmm.
There was a location where Janie I had Freddie filming Janie, and I was next to Janie. I had the recorder, and I was just a digital voice recorder. And she kept talking about being inside this thing, like seeing from its eyes. So I started having her describe what she looks like or whatever. And the whole time, Freddie's over there, and he's trying to videotape. He's got both of his hands on, and he's like, it just got me. And I'm like, it's a blank wall. There's nothing over there. It's not like a nail or something that he's going to get scratched on or anything. I'm like, you all right? He's like, yeah, I know it just scratched me. I was like, are you all right? Well, yeah. All right, then hush. We're right back to it. And it happens again. It happens again. And I'm like, all right, I'll look at it. And the first line, what goes across, the second comes down, and it does almost like a J. I was like, that would have been the perfect cross if he didn't jerk when he was scratching you, The poor guy can't catch a break. I'm giving him a hard time about everything. I'm like, all right.
Speaking
of pictures behind you, Clarissa did ask a question a while back. She was asking if each of those pictures have a spiritual story, which, from what you've said, each one of those pictures has a story.
Yeah, they really do.
He seems to be particularly interested in the one at the far, your left, the one with the horns.
This one or my left? This one over here.
Your left.
With the horns feels familiar.
Yeah, I think that's the one she's referring to.
There's a couple of them that have horns. Don't ask me why. I mean, it's what she sees. We go at it. Those in particular are at some very nasty locations. And there's a couple more on the top right. That's basically the same type.
Oh, no. She's saying you're right.
Okay. Which of the, sorry.
Well, let's say I'm guessing, are you talking about the one with the horns on the top of the head?
And the rib cage? Is that the one she's talking about? Hi, Nick. Hey, brother. Chrissy, I still love you. You're my awesome.
Yep, the one with the rib cage. And hello, Carl. Carl is the one who's behind Paranormal Nation Radio.
Yep. How you doing, Carl?
Over there.
Tuesday nights.
I don't want people thinking I'm
my hosting their days all mixed up.
Which one does she have the familiarity with?
The one that you were actually just talking about with the rib cage.
Okay. Yeah, that was a location. I'm sure. I know they were in talks of having some major film made over there. We'll see what happens with it, but it's another location that definitely had some activity to it. And every time Janie would walk in only in one certain area, she would be like, I'm telling you, I'm looking through its eye. And then she'd be saying it's telling her, to get out. And she's like, I'm not in having this conversation. But she would say that her eyes was much larger. And then, so again, being on the outside, it's a lot easier. I want details. Okay. Tell me what your arm looks like, or your hands, or your hook, your feet, or I'm looking for details to see what she is seeing at that moment. And
So
go ahead.
I was going to say, so when you look at that, are you going, man, I mean, I hate to say this because I contradict myself from earlier, but are you like, man, that's a demon? Like, is that the thought process that goes through you, or is this something different or just dark?
This is coming afterwards. I mean, I know which of the locations we went to had demonic activity, what had
Right.
basically like the little guys over here. They're about 18, 24 inches. They move really, really super fast, and they're not demons themselves. They are with them. Again, the girl that's straight behind me with the curly hair that she ends up going up on the wall on the ceiling at one point, looking down at one of my team members. Janie's watching it real time. That's just a close up. She originally started out as a 14-year-old woman.
Yeah, I remember that picture as well. Now, having seen it, I remember when you posted that.
It was pretty interesting.
Yes.
She started off as this little girl and Janie had told me we were about to have an event, and Janie was talking about this 14-year-old, about a 14-year-old girl that was at this location that we're about to have this event at. And multiple things happened beforehand. I dream about this 26-foot green and black snake. My team colors just happen to be green and black. I blow it off thinking, okay, my youngest stepson was talking about a snake the day before. Maybe that just got in my head. So then before the event, her stepdaughter took a nap on the couch. She gets up and walks over to me. And I mean, we know each other, but not very. And she's like, I just dreamed in all red. Is that normal? Kind of like your big red truck. Because I'm always taking things at, is this a warning, or is this something that's just my mind? We're all, if you let your mind go with things too easy, obviously it can run away really quick. We get to the location. Janie was saying beforehand, this little girl, she's in a bathroom that's no longer used as a bathroom. And there's two bathrooms in that location that are no longer used. We get to the very first one, and things go south from there. Between the scratch mark she has up on the top, that's from the same location. She was constantly getting scratched. Her ponytail would fly to the side, and her rubber band would go out, or her hair clip would go flying out while we're doing our lives. We had all kinds of stuff happen there. But that was actually one of the first demonic energies that Janie had dealt with since we've been together.
Okay, so on the top of demonic entities, in your entire paranormal career, how many times have you dealt with something that was demonic? Really, truly demonic?
9 times.
Oh, wow. That's a high amount.
There's more. That's the ones that I can personally say that I've seen. I mean, that's probably low. There's more than again, and it's not all, demons aren't the worst. I mean, Native Americans, again, on the wrong side, when they're irritated from their lands being disturbed, the amount of demons, we think of humans under attack, things happening. What about when you start losing all your animals as well, from horses down? I mean, they just dropping dead left and right.
Yeah.
Things can happen. You got elementals, you can have issues with them being in an area, and then all of a sudden the dog's sick and people are getting sick. There's a lot more besides just demonic energies.
Right. And a lot of people don't look at it that way. Like, look at the history. I mean, like you said, Native Americans, way here, here way long before we were.
Yeah.
And you disturb burial ground. That's not a good thing. It really isn't.
There's a lot of locations that I'm treating that I'm not having the time to completely develop what's there because of what's happening to the people. I mean, those are the cases where the woman that's got something inside of her actual skin, chest, stomach area moving around. I mean, you can't really fake that when it's completely exposed, stuff like that. These are different cases where there's no doubt, but there's a lot of other cases that I treat that, I couldn't tell you. I understand what an entity is. An entity is not. A lot of people think everything negative is a demon, and that's not the case. Is my point. You've got the demonic, you've got entities, you've got attachment entities. Again, you've got elementals, you've got other things, gens. There's a lot more out there than what we think or what most people know about. So it's a matter of treating them. Again, things have to happen quick. And sometimes it's just a nasty human spirit too. There's plenty of that. Don't get me wrong. But again, I'm dealing with the nasty. I'm dealing with the negativity. Those cases come to me. It's not like I'm the regular person going out to go check out of a location. The chances of you running into this, not very high at all by far, as long as you don't do some crazy stuff. Most of my cases do deal with the Ouija board, people doing, devil worship, whatnot. So,
like I said,
you basically have to go in and clean up on aisle 5.
yeah, and the cleanup, depending if there's children involved, I don't care what's there. I just want to get rid of it faster. I've done plenty of them over the phone. That again, it's over the phone. I'm not there personally to experience it. I can see part of it. Sometimes it's speakerphone. Sometimes I'll actually be on live with them, so I can actually see what's going on. And I've seen people have doors swung into them. They're not trying to have a door swing into them. They're walking, and all of a sudden they get clocked with something. It happens. Those I can't say are demonic because I'm not there. I'm just getting them to treat the location and be done with it. I've had locations. I've talked about the one gentleman that, he was bleeding out of every orifice he had on his body until after we got done with it. And then he's never bled again. Medics
I
didn't
remember you
understand why.
telling me about that one.
Yeah, yeah.
We've had animals, again, that were dying of cancer, wouldn't eat, haven't eaten in several days. And the next day they're eating perfectly fine and don't have any health ailments. Who knows? I just know it's not as I'm real big. I can understand what people say. Well, if it's one time here and there, you say the placebo, the sugar pill, maybe it was somebody's imagination. The easiest barometer to look at is if people have pets, especially dogs, because they're either calm in their environment or they're not. I've seen pit bulls that will not leave, huge pit bulls that will not leave their kennel. They're in there. They do not want to come out. They're just too scared. And then after you treat it the next day, it's laying out on the couch and it's perfectly fine, doesn't care about anything anymore. They acclimate back a lot faster compared to most, compared to people. People, we have to treat the mind of the person, which is more difficult than treating the negative energy. Honestly.
Yeah.
We've all seen the shows. We all see the shows and the horror movies. The places, went in an attic. I was with John, matter of fact, this past year, and we were treating a location, and it's that scenario where you could see where they could have made a horrible movie out of it. We're up in the attic. I just came off an operation from my arm, so I can't really use my arm at all, and I'm trying to move through the attic and step on through the trusses. Right. And in the trusses there's a lot of 2x4s. Well, the nails are all jagged, pointing straight at you, and you're trying to cross over them, and you could fall on them in a heartbeat if your foot goes off, because you're trying not to. You don't want to step through the drywall, and you have to step on each edge of the 2x4 and find it in the insulation as you're stepping through there. And it's probably at the time, it was probably 130, 140 degrees up there. We were instantly doused, but you could see where a horror movie would have been like that. These things you're about to fall on them. So,
yeah. So how's your recovery been so far from surgery? How much strength would you say you have now?
Maybe 25, 30%. It's horrible. That was a random thing that happened. I work construction. Picking up a sheet of drywall or a sheet of plywood should be no big deal. and I picked up a sheet of plywood, took a couple of steps, and then pop, and my tendon ripped off which goes through your bicep, ripped off my forearm.
And this was back in June.
May.
May.
Yep, May.
Okay.
I have no
close,
bicep.
Jeremy.
There's no bicep there. I mean, it's not good. But I had an awesome physical therapist who helped me. I mean, it was just underneath, it was really nasty and everything, and she just took care of everything really well. Now it's a process of building it back up, but it takes a long time. And we have things that happen that, talking to the doctors, how do I know I'm not going to do it with this one? Because I didn't lift up any traumatic weight or anything. So why did it pop off in the first place? And I don't know, but the chances of it happening twice isn't too good. Well, my last name's Murphy. I don't like those odds,
Right.
Yeah. Wow. So you still have a long way to go before you build full strength back up, if that happens.
If I get full strength in it, but it is what it is. It just, colder days are a little bit rougher, but it is, hey, things happen.
Absolutely, man.
Wow. Well, at least it seems like you got your maneuverability.
Thankfully, that was when I couldn't, for the longest time. I mean, I went a couple of days actually a week and a half, trying to find out whether or not it was just muscle, which I didn't think it was. And then went in and saw the person, and they were like, yeah, don't ever move that again until you get the operation.
So definitely hope it comes soon, though if it's at 25% now, wow.
Yeah, it's not building too fast, but
we do have another question for you. Yeah, we do have another question here for you from Rob. Have you ever been so scared to a point where you would not go back to a location?
No, Freddie can attest to this. I like it. I mean, the worst I'm looking for the magic carpet ride. I'm not saying I'm not going to be crying in the corner like a little, whatever afterwards, but I want to experience it. So no, I mean, my faith is extremely high. We've had locations where we know there's been demonic energy. I'll sleep there. I don't care. They just have to listen to me snore. It don't matter to me. We've been to a location that had two different houses, and our team and another team all slept over on one side, and I slept in the house by myself because nobody was going in that house. It was like, all right, well, I'm going to sleep.
Your last name's not Murphy for nothing. He's crazy, yeah.
I'm all good with that. I mean, if something, I'm not saying I can't be scared. I'm sure something's going to scare me one day. I mean, Janie would love for me to be able to see what she sees because she swears up and down it's going to scare me. To me, it's funny. I love watching. I love it. The more, the better.
Okay, so I'm going to go out on a limb on this one. If you really, truly want to be scared, Robert, hop on the Petri dish.
Okay.
Be a guest on the Petri dish.
Oh,
wonderful.
Oh, do not put that.
He will scare you if nothing else ever does.
Oh, do not put. You're gonna
in the field.
That's torture for this gentleman right here.
In the field, man. Anything. Yeah. The more activity that goes on, the greater it is. Again, when I was 18, I had in high school as a senior, things in my room from one side being thrown into the drywall, into the wall, but it was embedding into the drywall on the other side for a week straight. I kept loading the wall up. I thought it was cool. I didn't get to see it, but I was hoping I'd see it one time actually happening. So I've seen people, I've had my own team members that have all of a sudden turned on me and go on the attack. Janie, when we were sitting there talking, her eyes glazed completely over to black. There was no whites, and she just starts talking. I couldn't even understand what the hell she was saying. Didn't matter. The guy that was going nuts and started screaming, he's going to kill me. And then I spoke a little bit of Latin, and he sounded like the Godfather. He started rambling on and everything, and I thought that was the coolest thing in the world. And his best friend was like, what did he say? What did he say? I was too mesmerized by listening to this other voice.
You laughed. Right?
You can ask anybody. That's just the nature of it. Again, you got to keep control of it, but I do find it humorous as hell. I mean, it's just, when else do we get to experience this? You get a guy who, you touch and all of a sudden he's acting like a dog or something, panting really loud and screaming. What are you going to do? Sit there in shock and all, or would that?
I'd be like,
switch there for a second, not knowing what to do at first.
That's pretty weird.
It is strange, that one in particular. I mean, you have to learn as you go. Now, that was probably the worst threat I had, because he would go in and out. If I got on his back corner of his shoulder and touched him, if you're under possession, whatever's inside of you can't see 360. They can only see through your eyes. So they're vulnerable. So in a demonic possession is in this sense, the demon is vulnerable because it can't see behind. But when I come up and touch, it knows I'm there, and it doesn't like that. And this guy would immediately change and start panning really hard and start screaming he's going to kill me and whatnot. I didn't know the whole time. As I walked away to debunk a sound I was hearing, his best friend who contacted me originally started screaming, "Rob, Rob." This guy pulls up the longest knife that I've ever seen in my life. I mean, it should have been a machete, but it was actually set up as the biggest Bowie knife in the world, probably. But he had it on the side of him. So had this other energy. So you learn lessons. I mean, that was a threat, but it wasn't like I was scared, because fortunately I was away from it. But I was thinking, boy, how stupid I was, I'd never considered that he would have had a knife that big sitting next to it.
Right.
Things we learn, but again, that's one of the reasons.
Nobody ever said that there are no risk involved in what we do.
Oh, there's definite risk.
Definitely risk. Absolutely.
Don't underestimate what's actually out there.
All right. Well, it's after 10 o'clock, gentlemen.
No. Dang it.
Guys, it's been a blast.
Dude, that's what I said. Yeah, I always said when we started making our list for season 2, Robert, you was top of my list. I said I want Robert back on. I love the shows. Like, I don't even have to worry. Like, a 2-hour show, I'm not worried. Like, I know we're going to have a 2-hour show. It's going to be an awesome show. It's going to be a great show. And I don't need questions, because, yeah, I just know, man.
I know I talk a lot. Sorry.
Dude, no, you're amazing. Like, that's what I'm saying. Like, I say it again and again and again.
When you talk, you're educating us.
Absolutely.
I appreciate that.
And that's what we yearn for this. Yeah, we like to have fun. We like to have food on the show, but we also like the education part of it. That's why we do this.
I love the show. I think you guys, it's fantastic. You guys bring on a wide range of guests. I think that's very, very important. Again, I appreciate anybody. Jeremy, thanks so much for, again, letting my EPS Paratalk be on your network. That is fantastic. And all the other shows that are out there.
I'm just ecstatic that you took the invitation.
Yeah, me too. I really am. No,
you guys are too cool.
One of the first ones I contacted personally about coming to the network, and at the time I wasn't really sure if you were ready to come back. And when you said yeah, I was like, okay, let's go.
It was a good timing. I mean, again, it just got the house, and I'm still not finished moving in yet, but it was like, yeah. I mean, Janie has been on me. Hey, now that I'm going to live. We're all going to be in the same house. It's going to be a lot easier to go ahead and get these shows going and get back into it. So definitely appreciate it.
Maybe if the house is big enough, you can get Freddie and Melanie.
Everybody be over. We'll be having some parties before too long. You guys are going to have to come out. Awesome. You guys are going to have to do a road trip and get out here.
I don't know, man. You kind of scare me now.
I always need bait.
We going.
Oh, I'm not definitely want to go.
We always have to have bait, so you're more than welcome.
Dude, and you already said it. 18 to 24 inches and quick. I am 18 to 24 inches and I'm quick. I'm just saying, I will run.
And the same goes to you, Robert. If you guys ever get a chance to come up to Indiana, especially the northeastern area, you're more than welcome.
Look forward to it. One way or another, we're going to definitely go ahead and again, first thing we'll do is we'll get you on with Janie. That'll be really cool for you to see what happens. Judge for yourself.
Yep.
Yeah. Why not?
Yeah, we'll do it live for everybody watching. We'll do it live so we find out what skeletons
No.
Jeremy has in his closet.
Yeah.
Well, everybody already knows I have a skeleton in this house. I mean, it was my co-host for a little while.
Yeah, that's true.
We're gonna find out there. Don't you guys really want to know what really is there? Come on. Let's find out what's going on with Jeremy.
Scott's been
But-
to my house numerous times.
I just want to clarify, when that happens, I'm not going to co-host. It's going to be a one-on-one. Just because I know she'd be like, no, I'm not talking about you, Jeremy. I'm talking about you, you little midget. Listen here. I know. That ain't happening.
But no, I do look forward to talking with Janie sometime. Feel free to give her my number.
I will.
Yeah.
Not a problem. Again, she just knows she doesn't watch. She's not here. She's not watching the shows. She doesn't follow anything. You know, she just does her own thing, which I think is great.
Right. It probably would have been helpful for me because I was going through a bit of a situation over the last few months. I mean, I did talk to a few people about it.
I was going to say,
Yeah.
if you're going to
There you
talk to
go.
Janie, don't say nothing.
That's it. Don't give any indicators to anything.
Yeah.
Want to say hi?
So talking to Janie during that time might have helped out as well. Not that nobody else didn't help me, but you know what I'm saying.
Absolutely.
I'm all for people judging for themselves.
Oh yeah. All right. Well, I'll tell you what. This has been one fantastic show, Robert. Again, and thank you for helping kicking off. Now, 2 seasons of this show.
Yes, thank you so much, brother. Like, it is a true honor to have you back on the show. I really mean that.
It's mine. I definitely sincerely appreciate it very much. You guys are too kind. I definitely appreciate that.
Yeah,
we're not kind. We just
we're definitely going to want you back to help kick off the 3rd season, but I would hope to have you on and other members of your team on later on this season. Maybe even have all of you guys together.
That'd be interesting. But that would definitely be entertaining.
That'd be interesting. Don't want to do that. No.
Yeah. Maybe we can do a crossover. Have your 4 and our 4 together.
That'd be fun. We'll see. Try it. I guarantee it'll be entertaining.
Scott's getting nervous about that already.
I'm praying already. I'm like, good Lord, dear Lord, please don't let that happen.
Whenever me, Scott, Tim, and Crystal get together, it's a madhouse.
It is.
Especially when Scott gets into his humping stage.
Dude.
All right.
I don't know what you're. Can't say that. It's a surprise. Not for Robert though. Not for Robert. Like I said before we even started, he was getting mad at the audio. He's like, look. I'm like, dude, that is not the man to make mad. I'm just saying, so no.
And Nick said he would even bring the beer, although I think that might actually be a bad idea.
Yeah.
Just bring all the chicken nuggets you want for Scott.
Yes.
Yeah, just keep it on that side of the video because you don't want Janie drinking. She gets beyond straightforward at that point. I've seen it one time, but I don't want to be around it.
No, I'm good. But yes, thank you so much for being on, brother.
Okay.
Again, it's been an honor. Thanks so much to you guys.
And thank you so much for being as close to us. Your friendship.
Absolutely.
You have helped us out a lot.
Vice versa. That's the whole idea of the networking and whatnot. You guys have been crazy supportive for myself and my team, and we absolutely thank you guys for that. Can't say it enough. And then personally, you guys have been, and I thank you so much for that.
Thank you, brother.
Yeah, thank you. All right. So with that, I guess we'll go ahead and call it a night.
Well, we'll call it a night. So.
Yep. So until next week, where we have Robert Riggy on the show. I will not be on the show. I will be taking my vacation.
And Jeremy's going on break. I asked Jeremy to come back in tonight to help me with Robert. So I know Robert and Jeremy get along really well. And, you know, I needed my partner in crime tonight, so I thank you for coming in and helping me out, even though you're supposed to be on break. So
Yeah,
and,
but I wouldn't have missed not this one.
I kind of figured that. So
Yeah.
and Robert, like I said, I thank you for being on the show, and always a great show, dude. Always.
Appreciate it. Again, definitely appreciate it.
So until next time, if it's paranormal or beyond,
We got it covered.
thanks everybody. We appreciate you all. Have a good night.
See you guys next week, and tune in for the next shows over this course of the next week. Good night.